On today's show for PWD Allies podcast, raise the rates. That's right, raise the rates for persons with disabilities in the province of British Columbia. When was the last time that the rates were raised? Well, we're going to find out next. So stay tuned with my guest, and we're going to be diving right into this big topic. So buckle up. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to PWD Allies podcast. My name is Brent Frayne. I'm the host, and I'm broadcasting to you from the capital region of British Columbia, Victoria. It's nice and sunny out today. Yeah, it feels like a nice, good chill in the air early this morning, but it's going to be comfortable, especially for September. Wow, this is very unusual weather, but that's okay. Because September 27th is two birthdays. Two birthdays coming up. Not just mine, but Sonia's birthday too.
That's
different
right.
years, same day, different years. So it's a day to celebrate.
That way you can never forget, Brent. You can
Yeah,
never
and I'm
forget.
hoping that day it'll be nice and sunny that day. But to brighten the sunshine in many ways, my next guest is coming to you from the Valley, Fraser Valley, in British Columbia, and my editor producer is actually in the Fraser Valley also. So Neil and my guest MJ. Hi, how are you doing, MJ? It's been a while since I've had you on, and it's always nice to touch base and see where things are at about raising the rates in British Columbia for persons with disabilities. That shelter rate, it's ironically way too low.
Iconic and ironic.
Yeah, iconic and ironic. It's iconic because it's like, wow, like masterpiece, and ironic that the rates are not being increased for how long?
I don't know. How long? It's 2020. I'm actually.
But 2021 was last time they raised the, but it only went to some PWD. Some PWD.
Yeah.
So from there, I'm going to hand the mic over to you, MJ, and we can dive right into the.
And you notice that I'm wearing my Snoopy shirt? It was same on the thumbnail.
I see that. Yeah, awesome. And before we get started, I want everyone to. I've been getting some feedback about saying, Brent, can you share the mug on the podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the PWD Allies podcast mug. Yeah, and thanks to Trisha for making these mugs. These are, well, Neil, you know a little bit
Coming
more.
soon to a theater near you.
Yeah, these are limited edition, but look at the logos there. You see a nice close up there. Yeah. So if you like these mugs, let us know. Let us know in the comments section or send us an email, and we'll go from there about these mugs. What do you think, MJ? Do you like that? You like that mug?
I really do. I really like T-shirts better, though. I would like somebody to make one so we could start wearing them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awareness.
Maybe even a baseball cap too. I love a baseball cap too. I love those.
Yeah, just hats are more expensive. And we're also
That's true.
Yeah, some shirts, small, medium, large, or whatever it is. Let us know, and we can kind of progress from there. What would you like to see with the mugs and stuff?
Came out with that no more disability poverty symbol a year ago, and I emailed everybody, all the politicians. I could have their email addresses, and I asked them, is there any way you guys can find some money or somebody to donate to get these T-shirts made so we could start wearing them and bring awareness? Nobody responded.
Wow. Yeah.
It's so saddening. It's so saddening that just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I always say it's just because, disability isn't sexy enough for people.
I kind of disagree with you. I think there's other issues. One of them, as sad as it is to say, I think it all started going downhill when they gave the PWD label to people with addictions. Because we're treated like we're addicts now.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. we're all lumped in the same pile, right?
Yeah.
It's like a correlation of the homeless that are on the streets, and no fault of their own. I mean, there's so many reasons why people are homeless, but lumping the the reasons why the government may say, well, don't raise the rates because, well, they're homeless, or they're drug addicted, or they don't know where they're going, what they're doing. And I think it's like more of a stereotype. Like, I don't know, maybe we could talk about that. It's like that stigmatism of saying, well, they're homeless, so we can't raise the shelter rates, or like you don't get your shelter because you're homeless, but if you have an address, well, but now how can you have an address if the rates aren't raised enough?
Yeah.
Because the landlords are going to say, well, your rates are not high enough. But if government gives me $500 for the shelter, I'll have a roof over my head. But then they start questioning, MJ. They start saying, well, oh, okay, hang on. So if you didn't get that $500 shelter because it was raised up to $500. So what would be the base amount? Well, it would be $983. Oh, okay. So if they give you $500, that's how you're going to live. How are you going to pay your market rent? That's when all these questions start getting asked, and it's kind of a revolving cycle of explaining. A person having to explain themselves the reasons why they need to have shelter.
So I don't know if you guys listened to the House yesterday, the House of Commons, but something was raised and I just laughed my guts out. I couldn't help it. It was so funny. Apparently somebody got found guilty in the courts, and they were sentenced to house arrest, and they let them go on house arrest, and then later they found out they're homeless.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yay, house arrest.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you know what you mentioned the two things, ironic and iconic.
Yeah.
I want to start off the show, Brent.
Yeah.
And I think it's ironic is that if you ask the government here in BC, they'll tell you that source of income is not a grounds for discrimination, except in the case of tenancy. So that's where they can kind of get away with my clawback, I guess, because they say, well, source of income isn't a source of discrimination, Neil. But there is that except in the case of tenancy. So when you're dealing with rents and renters and housing, that is a source, according to our own government, that is a source of discrimination, and yet the government, even under their own rules, they turn a blind eye to it and say, well, it's not really happening. It's not really happening, Brent. It's not really happening, MJ.
It's not real. I mean, like pink unicorns, one behind me.
Look at all the pink unicorns. Look at all the pink unicorns. Yeah. It's not really happening.
No, it's not happening. It's just it's a fiction. It's yeah, exactly. So MG,
can we get back to what I'm here for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I am really into advocacy. I have trouble doing it all the time too, but I just keep pushing forward because things need to change. And so I put together a petition with the NDP government, which is very hard to do because you're not allowed to ask for money in their petitions. It's no wonder they don't have any petitions presented. So I had to come up with wording how we're asking for something without asking for something. And it took me 3 months and about 7 tries, I think it was, to finally put it together. And so we started collecting signatures, and we just passed 1,000 this morning.
Oh, nice.
Yay.
From BC, they're all BC signatures.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I've also put a thing in with change.org to try to email everybody that signed it and ask them to try to get 2 more people to sign. But I'm hoping you guys can post the link on your...
I have already.
Yeah, I did.
It's already in the description of the video, yeah.
I can't tell if anyone's watching this, but if anyone's watching...
Yeah, so far we have 5 people that are watching right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, for watching today. Hope you enjoyed today's show. And as usual, the ones that are watching, just tuning in. So let us know what you think of them.
We have Dan in chat. from Ontario.
And there we go. Dan, let's take a look at that. Yeah. Yeah. You know, the rates. We'll go down a little bit of a memory lane here, and then we'll talk more about your petition. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about your petition first. Then I'll go talk about the rates. Yeah. So what inspired you? What inspired you, MJ, about the petition?
So in May, I got a knock on my door that I was being served by the courts because my landlord quit paying the mortgage of the place I rent. So I was going to be facing homelessness, and it freaked me out. And when I called the residential tenancy agreement place, they told me I have no rights under this circumstance, that they could just show up and say get out with 1 minute notice. And so I started looking for subsidized housing, of course, and because I have an adult son who's disabled, who's over the age of 26, there's no subsidized housing for our situation unless we split up. And he can't live on his own right now, and he would need help, but it can't be me, apparently. It has to be, you know, we have to spend more taxpayer dollars and get a professional to do it, I guess. I don't know the reasoning. It's stupid. Anyway, it scared me. Thankfully, my landlord got all the shit together, and I get to stay. Thank God. He didn't raise the rent, so we're good for a while. But that's why. And the other thing is, with their stupid petition policies, we can't ask for a PWD increase. And I got so much backlash from people. Why aren't we asking for something for everybody? I'm like, it's not that easy. You have to, you know, put the petition together this way and that way, which I just explained. But 75% of us don't have subsidized housing, and that's a big chunk.
Yeah.
And we're having to pay market rent with $500. So that's enough for me to start a petition.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, it's the wording that's in a petition. Can't ask for actual certain dollar amounts, like regarding the rates. And I think it's ridiculous that like they should be allowed in the petition of stating what the needs are. Because yeah, like you know, I see it all the time. I hear it all the time in my community. People living in deep legislated poverty on, you know, courtesy of the provincial governments across Canada. I mean, in BC here where we are, and it echoes across all the provinces. It's like status quo. They love keeping things the way they are. Well, unfortunately, newsflash, governments, it's not okay to keep things as status quo, right? Cost of living keeps going up, rents keep going up, and that'll be kind of a little mic drop or like a little teaser there on that topic, because I just came out with well, I mean, I heard on the news, but I just came to my mind. I thought, wow, this maybe makes sense, that why rents are so high. Now, apparently, the municipalities have been putting more and more tax dollars, as we know, on the citizens of British Columbia. There's a lot of overspending within municipalities. But here's the kicker. There's an arm of the government. It's a commissioner it's a transparency commissioner, or whoever is in charge. It was disbanded 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago by the provincial government. They got rid of that accountability department that holds the municipalities account for spending. And there was now a discussion about getting that reinstated. Well, apparently the provincial government, they're not really interested right now of getting that reinstated to hold them accountable. So what's happening is that property taxes go up, and the end consumer, the renters, people who pay mortgages, they pay extra fees. That's why rents are going up and up and up. They say that since 2010, they have gone up 6 times, 6 layers up. That's why rents are so high and mortgages are so high. And now the end consumer, meaning us, like MJ, you and me, and a lot of others, 75% of the PWD community who pay market rent. That's why the prices are going up. You know, I'd love to see the prices come down. They have come down from the very top, like the price is way up there, and it's so misleading when I hear this splashy announcements, well, rents are coming down. No, they haven't. I mean, maybe from the very top, and from the bottom, a little tiny bit, little little tiny little breadcrumbs thrown down that, hey, look, we're dropping the rates down. And I can vouch, because in where I rent from in my from my corporate landlord is I said, okay, so well, rents come like really crashing down. They will come down, but they're not going to come down rocket like really fast. They may come down slowly over time, but it's all about profit level. They want to maintain their profit level to their corporate investors, their stakeholders, and their profit level for their business, right? I mean, they're in business to make money, and I said, I get it, but on the backs of the consumer who can't afford those rent increases, the high cost of rent, they may drop it down like $25, 50, 75 at the most. Well, actually, they went a little bit further. They dropped it down by $100 drop because they couldn't rent a unit out after 3 months. Well, I know why, because it hasn't been renovated, and they just flipped it over. They touched it up, buffered it up, give it a little paint here and there, and rented it out. And floors are all cracked to hell, and hey, person still paid. They still paid top dollar because they were desperate for housing. I guess so. My point is that I want to see the rates come down, but they're not going to come down magically to what we want. And so, as a person with disabilities in the province of BC, MJ, I'll hand the mic over to you on this, where you can kind of lead off on this. Is that what with your petition? What are you asking for? Kind of where I'm leading off now is like, because right now the rents are so high everywhere. Vancouver, I believe, is one of the highest. Toronto is actually, there's Toronto, there's Vancouver. Victoria is right behind. We got Nanaimo now that's actually creeping up, and I don't know why they're not in the actual newest feed of the high rents, because rents are actually almost as high in Victoria than they are in Nanaimo. That's scary. But in Nanaimo, they charge for water. Yeah, that's on top of your rent. That's a surprise. And if you don't ask the questions, they don't tell you what's not included. Yeah. Victoria, they haven't done that yet, knock on wood. But yeah, anyway, up to you, MJ.
So my petition is asking for them to, instead of giving $500 for shelter rate for every PWD recipient, I want them to make it the cost of a 1-bedroom apartment in that PWD recipient's area they live in. So in Chilliwack, it's $1,600 a month for a 1-bedroom. I want my shelter rate raised to $1,600, and where you are, Brent, it's probably like $2,200. I don't know what it is, but so it's raised in $2,200. And that's pretty much it.
How would that work? Is that raising it up to what the market rent would be in your area?
And you wouldn't need an inflation increase every year on it, because they would just have to keep with the average market rent every year. As it goes up, it would go up.
Okay.
And then if you wanted to move to Langley, you would, instead of getting the $2,200 a month, you'd get whatever it is in Langley, which is what, $1,800, I think.
$1,800,
$1,900. $400 a month, but not really. You still have your place paid for, right?
Right. So it's just a little bump up based on what the market rent is in that community.
Yeah, so and you should have the right to move. If I want to move to Victoria from Chilliwack, I should be able to do that and have my market rent bumped up to the average.
Yeah, exactly. So then if I moved from Victoria and I moved out to Chilliwack or Abbotsford, well, probably Chilliwack. I like Chilliwack better than Abbotsford. Transit's better, more accessible, really. Yeah, for sure. So I mean, if I were to do that, then of course the market rent would be lower, but then of course that's what you would get for your shelter accordingly in that area. That makes total sense, because
and it does make total sense, and what you say is true, MJ. But I just worry about, like, we know how literal the government is, and how they like to just keep things so simple and dumbed down. I can't see the government having a sliding scale for rents. I mean, it makes sense. I'm telling you, it makes sense. But we all know that the government, based on how, like, decades and decades and decades of policy, we know how much they like to dumb things down. And so I just think the government's going to want to stick to a magic number and say, this is the magic number for shelter, no matter where you are. just like just like they've always done, right? And I'm not saying you're wrong, because you're right, but I'm just saying, like, just apply the 30 years or 40 years of of past government policy.
You're absolutely right, MJ, on that.
Yeah, I mean, 100% right. But I'm just saying, based on what the government does, are they really going to want to apply the sliding scale of rents?
So they're not going to want to. However, the federal government does it for EI. They have a sliding scale as to where you live.
Oh, interesting.
And this is where advocacy comes in. And this is on my list to talk about today.
Okay. That's very interesting that PEI is doing it already. And also, I mean, there's been a lot of discussions around even the community, and just on the bus, and I hear people talking from a distance. You hear them talking about the cost of living, rent. Rent is the topic that I hear all the time. Rent. Oh my gosh, where do I have to cut back in order to make my rent increase? Because I got this. Where do they keep cutting back? Well, newsflash, government. Where do people keep cutting back in order to pay the rent? I mean, rent, really? Like a fundamental right? I mean, housing. I mean, how did we get here where rents were so high that, I mean, I never thought the rents would get to us just a strong amount of money. There's been discussion about vacancy control. What do you think about that, MJ? I mean, yes or no? Yeah.
I don't even really know what vacancy control means.
Vacancy control is that when a tenant moves out of where they live now, so people would say, oh my gosh, I would love to pay what you pay for rent right now. Like, there is nowhere there's people in my building that were paying under $1,000. Wow. There's people in my building paying just under $1,000. Like, wow. And a 2-bedroom, there was one lady, she's been here for many years. I found out that she just got a rent increase. Her rent is going up to $1,109. Wow. $1,109 for a 2-bedroom. And newsflash, I can tell you, in my building right now, a 2-bedroom is going for $2,300. So wow. Management would love it if they moved out. They would do anything to get them out of here so they can make an extra like $1,000 profit, just like that. And then don't even renovate it. Just flip it over, maybe put a little bit of paint on, maybe put a little bit of putty, and just paint it over. Maybe change some tile in the washroom or something. Like, yeah, I mean, just some of these corporate landlords, I mean, and even any kind of landlord, some are great. I mean, awesome. And there's some that are just slumlords that they get away with everything because there's no accountability. And again, comes back to the government. There's no accountability of overseeing of some of them that are getting away with stuff, but you're allowing corporate landlords to get away with charging this kind of price. But then you say, well, I'm building more subsidized housing. Well, why not work with the corporate landlords too? Why not work with the sector where, like when I said vacancy control, MJ, means that what we pay for rent right now is rock bottom. When I say rock bottom, it's not like 1,900 or 1,800, right? It's lower. But I worry that we keep getting rent increase each year, and the rates don't go up. Like, so in the income, they don't increase the actual amount for PWD to go with either support or shelter, either or. I mean, it's still one check. It still gets paid to the management because whatever's left out of the shelter, you got topped up to your support to pay your rent. So I worry that as a consumer in the city is that it gets to a point where do you keep cutting back? Because if you got to pay your rent, if you don't pay your rent, you're evicted. So how vacancy control works is that if we were to move, somebody else can move back into our same unit for the same rent that we're paying right now. That's how vacancy control works. So if somebody in your community, MJ, just for instance, and they're paying $1,100 for a 1-bedroom, or maybe $1,250 for a 2-bedroom, right? Just as an example, if they moved out of a 2-bedroom, I could move back into that. I can move into their unit for $1,250.
Mm-hmm. I actually don't agree with it because
no.
We're supposed to have a democracy. You're supposed to, as a business person, even a landlord, because they still haven't made it a human right. It really isn't a human right. So in a democracy, they should be allowed to charge whatever they can get away with.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's the government that needs to keep up with it.
Yeah. That's just how vacancy control works. It's kind of like, it's like tying the unit to the tenant. I mean, the
landlords would be in an uproar if we did that.
Oh, they would, and that's why there's been pushback from the landlord BC because like the rents have only gone up by next year in 2026 it's a 3% increase. Yeah. Landlord BC was asking for I think a 9% increase over the same time frame, and the BC government said no, there's no way. The tenants cannot take that bite, so they're kind of doing it in low increments instead. I mean, you see a lot more homeless people if it would have been at 9%. Imagine that.
Yeah, well, let's use this example, Brent. I mean, let's keep it simple. Let's do some very simple math. Like, we talk about PWD policy and how it's kind of uneven and unfair because, like, if you have somebody that does have a subsidized unit, so let's say their rent is only $500 a month, like the actual limit of $500 a month. Say that's what their subsidized rent is. That means that they have a whole $1,000 left, or roughly, for food and utilities. I mean, how much money do you have left, or the average single person have left, if they're going to be paying market rent? How much money do these people have left for food and utility? Like
probably under $100 left for a whole month. And,
so that's really stacking the deck against. Again, when we're not talking about half and half here. We're talking only 25% get subsidized rents. So you're really stacking the deck against 75%. So the overwhelming majority, 75% of PWD do not get subsidized rents. So you're basically, saying too bad, so sad.
Yeah, and it's like saying, well, you make that choice of paying market rent, or you can have subsidized housing. You can go on a long waiting list for 10 plus years. It's pretty close to 20 years. Yeah. I mean, and if people were, say, already in BC housing at one point in time, the theory was like, oh, okay, well, they can get back into BC housing. Well, now we find out just recently by phone calls and inquiring, nope, you got to start from scratch. You got to, I mean, sure, you can reapply.
Right down at the bottom.
Right from the very bottom.
Yeah.
Why? Because Sonia was in BC housing, and she found out just recently that, like if she wanted to get back into it, she'd have to start right from scratch. And there was a lot of criteria that's changed. You used to have to get in because of health conditions. Nope, that's not even, they don't even use that as a criteria now. Like if you're fleeing violence, domestic violence, your building's been sold or condemned. I mean, there's so many reasons why that people can get into BC housing. However, families with children take priority. They take priority first. It's like the Titanic, children, women and children first. Yeah.
And it should be that way, but it still is kind of unfair for everyone else.
Yeah, but there's been such a long waiting list. Like there's just not enough housing getting built. However, the way I look at it too, and MJ, maybe you could, kind of answer this one too for me. I always look at it as great. I mean, that's great that they're building. The government is getting contractors to build subsidized housing, or for profit, not for profit. I mean, they're third-party companies that are under the umbrella of BC housing. I mean, great. People need housing. I'm not saying don't have BC housing built. There's a lot. I mean, 75%, as we say, are living in market housing. They either rent a basement suite, they live in a condo, a townhouse, or a traditional apartment. There's co-op housing, but that's kind of part of BC housing. So that's another beast in itself. But anyway, the fact is that the finances are not being met. And I think people should be able to choose what kind of housing that works best for them. So if they're living in like traditional market housing, like all the pointers that I just mentioned, I think it should be extended. The actual program from BC Housing extended over to market housing. However, based on the individual, not the household, individual, so that the individual has autonomy, they can make decisions for themselves. So if they're in a domestic dispute or relationship, or they have to move for whatever reason, it's not going to affect the household income. Like, so now another person that's still living there, they can still have that BC housing, or they could, they don't have to be in a BC housing facility. They can still live in their own residence like seniors do. They can still live in their own home. But if one of the family members or somebody else living there needs to go, they can still have that housing, and it does not affect that that person. What's your view on that?
Sorry, I have the garbage trucks just going by. I don't like how they prioritize one group over another. I really hate that. Okay, I can understand the kid thing, but disabled people are even below immigrants and refugees. Like, we are the lowest of the low. It's like, we're treated like welfare bums, really. Like, you guys should just go to work.
Yeah, I know that narrative of, work, I know. Yeah,
I would rather myself to see them increase the shelter rate to the average one bedroom instead of having to depend on all these programs that are inadequate anyway, right? The other thing they mentioned is scattered housing. That could be done with us having our shelter rate raised to the average. So we are not all in one place. We get to rent wherever, right? Because we'll have to do so. So that's my opinion. I don't have a lot of time.
That's a good point. A very good value. I like that valid point.
I don't have a lot of time today. I just wanted to talk about a couple of things, if I could. So the BC petition I made, I was really hoping that some people in other provinces would kind of copy and paste it and do one in their own province. Of course, there's probably different wording allowed in their legislature. I don't know, but try to figure it out and do one. We really need to start advocating together, especially federally, because we have no voice in the House anymore. Nothing, not one person as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And I am in the process of putting one together, asking them to give $5,000 to every PWD person across Canada. And my MP's given me grief because he doesn't care about disabled people either. And yeah, I'm still bugging him to let my petition fly. But it's very easy to do a federal petition. And I was really hoping that we could put out there asking people to do a federal petition that would expire December 15th. They can collect 2 months of signatures. They're very easy to put together, especially if you've already done one. It takes about 10 minutes. And you only need a few signatures for it to be on the floor. I think it's like 100 or something. It doesn't take long. And we could all sign each other's petitions. And if we could nail them with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 even petitions all at the same time, I'll tell you that they're going to notice that.
Oh, yeah. They won't be able to ignore it, for sure.
Yeah.
But the problem is I can't get disabled people to do this stuff.
Yeah.
Instead, they have to criticize on what my petition doesn't cover. Like, I kept saying, well, you're welcome to do your own.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. The more petitions out there, the better, because it really it shines a light on the inadequacies and the neglect from all levels of government, provincial, federal for sure. I mean, don't even have a disability federal minister who, which should have been in place from day one. I don't know why. Well, actually, I do know why. Because they don't care, right? I mean, that's the reason why. But they should care because, when they live in a bubble, they're protected. But when they don't live in a bubble, their lives are the same as us. They can get a disability at any time. And, I mean, it affects people in their community. It affects maybe their family members. Yeah, they have people with disabilities. I mean, I think that the politicians should really care more for their citizens and the country as a whole. And and look out for one another. It's like pegging disabled people against disabled people, have and have nots, and oh well, you don't need to have this. And I always find, MJ, there's always reasons for the governments to say, well, there's more to do, or kick the can down the road. Hey,
well,
you.
They do because we don't stick up for ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, I get some disabled people can't get out and rally. I'm one of them. I can't drive. I can't get out there. But I'm doing other things. Like, we can all do other things. We can all help each other. And if we're not going to help each other, they're not going to help us. Why would they? Why would they care? Like, I don't understand why disabled people don't care enough. A lot of them are just sitting at home because they can't work. You must have some time to do a little bit of advocacy.
Yeah, I think there's two problems. Is one is that there's so much to advocate for. That's the first thing, that it's so easy to kind of split your attention to so many different things. Yeah. That's the first thing.
So many topics,
and the other thing is that, as you kind of alluded to, MJ, is that somebody can attack you and say, well, why aren't you advocating this way? Right. You get that a lot. It's like, you're missing the boat here. You're not doing it like this.
And, why are you not advocating?
And so people that advocate are getting attacked.
Yeah.
For doing a good thing, and we really, like, for some reason, the PWD community is great at that, at dividing, at dividing each other and saying, you're not doing this, and it's like, I hate seeing that. It's just like, why can't we just admire and try to get behind a good cause and see, well, okay, MJ isn't doing it exactly the way you want to do it, but she's still doing a good thing. So let's get behind it and support it,
and say like hooray, like
and pump it up and
say that, hey, I'm going to advocate for transit. Oh, okay, is it accessible? Well, no, I didn't say it's accessible. Well, shame on you for not saying accessible.
Yeah.
Well, everyone has their own key things that they want to advocate for, and I say give them a hands up. Give them give them a praise of saying awesome.
Yeah.
And I think everyone has their own chapter on advocacy, on what works good for themselves, and they want to make better for everybody, I'm sure, in their own way. But some people have more strengths in certain areas of what they want to achieve. For me, I want to see happiness. And stop all the infighting and all that, just happiness in general. One thing I've always come to believe is, you can never make everybody happy. And that's a line I'll take from John Horgan, God rest his soul. And he told me, MJ, in several different meetings, but one in particular, says, Brent, I'll be honest with you. I love your advocacy. You need to hold me accountable. You need to hold any politician accountable who's leading the province. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't stand back and say, but don't swear at me. If you swear at me, I shut you down, right? And I said, well, I'm not going to swear. But you can say the reasons why the rates have to be raised, why we haven't done certain things, how it impacts your life, how it impacts the community. Like he was trying to teach me, coach me of it's okay to sometimes not be as strong and kind of not weak, but winds down a bit. But don't be silent. Don't silence yourself out, because what you need to say is important. And he says everybody needs to say it. But he says one thing that stood out was, you can't make everybody happy, right? And that was his main theme. He was not there to make everybody happy, and he knew he couldn't make everybody happy. But I can tell you one thing: he wanted to see our rates raised. He told me a secret many times. I want to see you guys happy in BC. Well, he says, well, I can't speak for other provinces. That's their own jurisdiction. But he says nobody should be living below poverty, and he wanted to see everybody happy, and that was his goal. Unfortunately, we know that the Thorn got handed over to another leader who now did a 360 and has done completely the opposite and didn't raise the rates. And the theme is get a job, get a job, get a job. like
Sounding a lot like Christy Clark from.
Yeah, and it's to me, it was like a gut punch, right? It's like there's so many people that I've heard so many stories. I mean, people have had jobs since they were like just teenagers. I mean, I've worked all my life too. I can't do what I used to be able to do. I mean, my mind says yes, and the body says, oh, hell no. You know what I mean? And then you got someone out there, get a job. Well, that's the only way that you're going to make more money because we're not going to raise the rates. MJ, I guess you don't know part of the story, and I'm going to throw this in here.
I do. I've heard it on your shows. It's okay.
Yeah, you heard it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a few more things, if it's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
So on April 10th, in the legislature on question period, they attacked Sheila Malcolmson, the Conservatives. I got that going with my MLA. They did a fabulous job. And if you haven't watched it, I encourage you to watch it. It was quite fun to watch. And my question got at the total end, and I never did get an answer. And I want an answer from Sheila Malcolmson. My question was, do I have a right to live as a disabled person in this province? I'm going to be going back to my MLA when I'm done with this petition, and I'm going to remind her I want an answer to that question. And you always say Sheila watches this show. So Sheila, why am I censored? Why are you censoring me off of your Facebook site? Why have you blocked me that I'm not allowed to give you any comments? That is censorship. It's wrong. And I want to know, do I have a right to live as a disabled person in this province?
It's a very good question. And Sheila, that is a very valid question. And it echoes around, like I live in Victoria, Sheila, and I'm not far from the BC legislature. I mean, I'm far enough where I still have to take a bus down. I mean, I guess I could walk if I really took my time. I could get there by walking. I've never walked right to the BC legislature per se. I walked downtown only once, early in the morning, because there was no transit from where I live to get me down. I'm on a main bus route, but go figure, right? But anyway, my point is, I'm in the capital region. I'm not far from the BC legislature, where our voices are supposed to be heard. The People's House, our voices are supposed to be heard. The members of the Legislative Assembly are there as we elect them to represent our needs. And as you just heard, Sheila, and all members of Parliament, and also in Ottawa, right? MPs, and there's MPPs. Voices like MJ just said, why am I not being heard? Why are you shunning me out? But this message is for Sheila Malcolmson, the Minister of Social Development and Poverty Reduction in British Columbia, the minister in charge of PWD and income assistance and seniors. There's like, the fact is that if you take the ownership of being in charge, you need to listen to the citizens of the province that you represent. And now I'm not mocking you, Sheila, but the fact is that she's pleading of saying, is my life of value? Like, or why are you devaluating by blocking? And if it's not you blocking, why is one of your staffers blocking for your page to silence her out? That is a good question. And I find that on social media that any members of Parliament, doesn't matter what level, what color of government it is, if you block out somebody, that means that you're silencing out their voice. You don't want to hear the truth. I know the truth does hurt sometimes, right? But the fact is, these are real lived experience stories. These are people's lives. You don't silence them out because you disagree with something. I know from a disability community point of view, I mean, we can always, there's people that I've come across that, I have disagreements with. But do you silence them out because you don't agree upon one little thing, but you love their advocacy? How are you going to know how their advocacy works if you silence people?
And again, Brent, that is why we did that one episode, the policies of neglect, right? Yeah, that was just a couple of shows ago. We did the policies of neglect, and it was all about government policies not respecting life and not respecting death, right? You have, like I said on the show, I mean, Canada is leading the charge, leading the way, has more deaths attributed to MAID than anywhere else in the world. I mean, isn't that something to be not proud of? Like I said on the podcast, right? So here you have government that's you know, basically saying, go kill yourself. We'll fund that. But we won't fund you to be able to eat. We're not going to be able to make sure that you can have a roof over your head. But go kill yourself. That's fine.
Yeah,
I mean that's why we did that show, right?
Yeah, but then they go ahead and they try to silence other people's voices, where they say, well, don't advocate so much, because if you advocate so much, we're going to silence you out, right? We're going to quiet you down, like tone down. Don't get your voices to be heard. Don't speak up for yourselves. We don't want you to stand up for yourselves. Well, how I was brought up, my mom brought me up since I was a little child and, well, little baby. I was adopted, right? I was adopted. I got to know my biological mother and my adopted mother. I always thought my adopted mother was my mom until I was 12 years old, right? So I was so much closer to my mom than my mother, you know, if that makes sense, which I'm sure it does to a lot of people, right? Because that's who I thought it was. But anyway, I was brought up where, Brent, if you have something to say, stand up for yourself, speak up. And I was very shy. People would listen to me now and go, yeah, right. Yeah, right. You weren't shy. Hell yeah. Oh yeah. We'd go for a car ride somewhere, and I'd be in the back seat. Is Brent still awake? Is he awake? I'd be just sitting quiet because I had nothing to say. But really, truthfully, I felt that what I had to say wasn't important. Mm-hmm. So that's why I never spoke up, because I thought my voice didn't need to be heard. And as I got older, and going through elementary school, high school, college, and talking to different levels of colleges, actually, instructors taught me that, Brent, it's okay. It's okay to say how you feel. It's okay to speak up. You know, you have to, careful, obviously, don't step on the wrong toes too many times in different ways, but be respectful. If you respect yourself, you do unto others as you want done unto you. And that's one thing my mom taught me when I was a child. It's okay, but do unto others as you want done unto you, right? And so when I reverse it to the government saying, you're not respecting your PWD citizens, no fault of ours, we're born this way. You can develop more disabilities as you get older in life, and you will. I mean, it's not our fault who we are. We're citizens. We're residents of British Columbia. We're citizens of Canada. We should be able to go to and from whatever province we want to, having that PWD designation. You don't need a DTC to get the damn CDB either, by the way. But BC says, oh, we're not going to raise the rates because we're waiting on the Canada Disability Benefit. Well, I think that was just a scapegoat and an excuse not to raise the rates. So
you might get blocked by her website.
And I just want to say too that all PWD in this province and all across Canada, we are contributors.
Absolutely.
In so many ways. I mean, the government likes to say, well, who's the bigger taxpayer, and that's kind of the bottom line. But I contribute to my society, you contribute to your society, MJ contributes to her society. Yeah. We all contribute. We're not just sitting on our butts doing nothing.
When you give more money to the citizens, they're going to put the money back into the community, either the community that they live in or other communities or even other provinces. It helps everybody blossom. Businesses, small businesses blossom. Money gets put back in. Guess what? It creates the engine going, right? Yeah. So what's going to happen if you don't provide PWD and people on income assistance and seniors enough money to have a basic income where the standards of life, when you have a disability, your expenses are even higher. So those rates have to be propped up, and they're no less than poverty level financial support, as Jeff Leggett would say with the Disability Action Canada. No less. There has to be a level. It can't go lower. And I remember, MJ, we had a meeting, Sonia, Jeff, and myself, we had a meeting with the BC Conservative Party in British Columbia. So we had a meeting with a whole group at the table. And one of them looked at us. I mean, the meeting was going great. I mean, nothing against, and if they're watching the show now, nothing against all of you. I mean, I think that was a great meeting. And I thank you very much for, taking the time to come and sit down with us. But the one part that stood out to me, I mean, poor Jeff, I mean, like his muscles were twitching right in his neck. You could see, I looked over and you could see them tensing up, and mine, I thought my blood pressure was going to go through the roof. And I'm looking at Sonia, she was going to be foaming at the mouth. Our jaws all dropped. Well, all three of you don't look like you have disabilities. And I was like, what the hell? Like,
yeah.
And you know, the response was that we all get disabilities. I'm sure I have a disability too, but you know what? You just have to do the best you can in life. And, you know, I'm sure there's work out there for people. Like, so it's that narrative again, you know, it has to be work related. Like, I'm sorry, like, yes, if a person can work, that's fantastic, but you need to provide them with the basic dignity and respect by giving them the basics in life. And then when you have a disability, of the financial support and the tools to help them with you know, as a citizen, right? If you don't provide them the standards, what do you have? That basically you have a failed government that is okay with status quo. Because going back down memory lane, I can look at the shelter rate.
I just have to go take a little break.
Oh, sure.
I'll be back.
Yeah, no problem. So I'll go down memory lane here for our audience while we wait for MJ to come back. I think it probably got a lot of anxiety and understandable with you know, talking about how government's treating people with disabilities. But I'm gonna go down memory lane just so people can kind of get a good idea here. So in my research shows in 1989, the BC shelter rate for persons with disabilities and / income assistance, also known as welfare, as people would call it, right? We used to call it Welly Wednesday, right? You get your check on the third Wednesday of each month at the end of the month. Well, if you had a 5-week month, now it would fall pretty close to almost when your rent is due, when you're paying market rent. It's getting a real dicey situation of making sure that your rent is paid on time, right? You have to pay it manually. So in 1989, the shelter rate in British Columbia was $275. Yeah, $275. In 1992, in February of 1992, the rates went from $275 to $325. Yeah. Wow. So, okay. So, so that is that's only 3 years. That was a 3 years one. So, yeah, I mean, not bad. I mean, you only waited 3 years and you increased it by 50 bucks. Here's the problem. From 1992 to 2007, it went from 325
so that's 15 years.
15 years. So instead of 3 years, we jumped up to 15 years. So we went from 325 in 1992 to 2007 till April 1st, 2007. It went, for $50 up to $370.
April
up to
Fools.
$375. And here's the long stretch, everyone. So $375. So Gordon Campbell from the BC Liberals at the time raised it in 2007. And April 1st, April Fool's Day, he raised the shelter and he raised the support. Mm-hmm. So he raised the shelter by so he raised up to $50 in April 1st, 2007, up to $50, so $375. He raised the support too. Should he done more? Absolutely, right? I think it was just excuses to reasons why not to. I think it was a splashy announcement, MJ and everybody. I think it was like, look what we're doing. Look what we're doing for PWD. But after 2007, he was in government until 2010, right? As we know. Unfortunately, that was a change of premiership and all that kind of stuff went on. But from 2007 all the way to 2023, that shelter rate stayed at $375. No increase to the shelter. Meanwhile, I saw the trend from 2007. All the way up. I saw the rents constantly going up a little bit, and then they started surging up, and then massively surging up. Shelter rate went up in 2023 to some. I'll emphasize some PWD and market housing, and the reason why I say some is that you had to prove that your rent actually went up in market housing. If you were lucky enough that your landlord or your management company decided, you know what, I'm going to give you a break. I'm not going to raise your rent. You lucked out. You lucked out, right? I guess in a way, but in a way, financially, you actually benefited when they did give you a rate increase because you got that 125. If you didn't, you got nothing. Mm-hmm. And in BC Housing umbrella, you got no increase. You didn't get that 125 increase. So now the buying power, the people in BC Housing actually got punished even further behind. Yeah. Really, yeah. They actually got hurt. And people probably wonder, well, where did that 125 come from? So back in COVID, the COVID era, and there's still COVID floating around everywhere. But back in the time where we had the crisis supplement from the BC government, COVID's crisis supplement, all PWD income assistants and seniors got that supplement. And I thought, wow, okay, like $300. That was in 2020. I mean, it really really changed. I mean, my life. It changed Sonia's life in so many ways, and people who we got to know in Langley, because we lived in Langley at the time. I mean, there were so many people in our building that were PWD. I mean, we got talking, and they had a community garden. They were growing stuff and vegetables and fruit, and the guy would bring us over cucumbers and zucchini. I didn't like zucchini too much, but I mean, I still ate it. But carrots, I mean, broccoli, I mean, you name it. It was awesome. It was so nice. But we also had that $300. So we were able to buy nutritional food supplements. Sonia could buy dietary stuff for her diabetes, get her supplies that she needs to eat properly, proper healthy foods. So many things. However, our living situation, MJ, like our rent was still high, definitely higher than the $375 at the time. And even if it was $500, our rent was still higher than that. So I joked around with my corporate landlord at the time. I said, well, would you rent to us at $375 for rent? Well, I think we might have a locker I could rent to you for $375 rent. However, I don't know if both of you would fit into that locker. I mean, you might have to go with the upgrade. I could probably get you one for $75 a month, like a larger one. And they knew I was joking, but at the same time, they said it was very disgusting of our government not to raise, and that was then. They said disgusting of our government not to raise the rates up to a livable amount. I mean, no fault of John Horgan at the time. I know what his plan was. We were told in secrecy that we couldn't say anything when the COVID supplement was in place. We met with him. They were taking away 125 of it. They were leaving it with the 175 increase. So in 2021, April, it was end of March of 2021, where all PWD were going to keep the 175. They were going to take the 125 away. We found that out during a meeting that we had. John Horgan was in Langley, a launch of the SkyTrain that's going to be coming to Langley, and he gave a presentation. Sonia found out that John was in town, and he said, we got to go, John's in town, what? So we raced down. I've never seen Sonia move so fast in my life. She went down to the park. We went down to Douglas Park, and he was on the stage, and security all around, surrounding the area. They got to see, got two people kind of moving in here. Austin, go ahead. Yeah, got over on the left-hand side coming in here. Yep, go ahead. Yeah. No, apparently they know John Horgan. Okay. And they put a little bug in John's ear. They're trying to get his attention, like there's people coming up. Hey, my friends are here. And he's like, he spotted, and all of a sudden he stopped. He did a mic drop. And so anyway, he walked over and he told us, so you can't say anything. We're going to keep the 125, but that's going to come down the road. I'll keep advocating to get the $300 back, but we need it now. He said, squirrel the money away. I go, well, we rent from a corporate landlord. Well, the rent's still cheap enough, right? I go, yeah, but it's not. It's not $375, John. He goes, no, there's more to do on that, right? But I want to see you guys happy. I want to see your guys' rates increased. I'm going to advocate for that 125 going forward. Well, we didn't know at the time that he was the only voice at the table that cared. He says, I'm the only one at the table that cared. Nobody else cares. And so I stuck in my mind, why would nobody else care about raising the rates? I thought, what? You know what? Where is he going with this? But he said, promise me, you can't tell anyone that the 175 is going to stay in place. We had people saying, well, they're going to take it away. Well, maybe not. You never know. Never know what the government's going to do. Well, we knew they were going to keep it in place, the 175. he says, promise me. I'm like, damn it. So, you know, but we didn't know about the 125 MJ. We didn't know what he was going to do with that, what was going to happen. But 2 years later, now we know. In 2023, they brought the 125 back of that COVID supplement and said, here you go. Look what we're doing. Here's a rent increase, 125 to some of you. Well, why not just have left it all in place back in COVID? Because then we wouldn't have had to move to Victoria. We could have stayed living where we were living.
Yeah.
So you change a person's outcome of their decision-making of what's best on their needs, autonomy-wise, what's best on our needs, not the government's needs. And they say, well, yeah, yay, you got to move to a cheaper housing. Well, we didn't want to move. We wanted to stay where we were living.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess the point of the matter is that you got to listen to lived experience stories, because we talked to news hours at the time. They said, what would happen if they took it away? Well, we would have to move, Sonia says. Well, where would you move to? Well, we don't know yet where. Well, now we know where, because Sonia came across the place that we're living at now. And people are like, oh my God, that rent is rock bottom. Well, it's rock bottom for a reason. Yeah. You know, as we all know, Victoria is expensive. I don't live in a dive, but I live in a very older building that definitely needs a lot of TLC. Let's put it that way. I mean, it's okay. Like, I mean, it's livable. Are we happy living where we are? No, we want to move. Ideally, we would like to live back in the Fraser Valley. Just not sure where yet, MJ. Hint, hint. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that why you were in Chilliwack?
Well, you know.
You freaked me out that day. Oh my God, you freaked me out that day.
Wouldn't that be something, eh?
We are at the end of the hour, Brent.
Asking me something to ask you, MJ.
Okay.
I can't hear you. What?
Ask her if she knows about Betsy's place.
Do you know about Betsy's place? I'm not going to tell you the name of it. I can talk to you off the show on that, but it's Betsy. Do you know? No. Okay. Anyway, it's over.
It's going for $1,250.
It's going for $1,250.
Oh, wow.
I paid $1,400 for a 3-bedroom house, so I'm not gonna move.
Yeah.
No. But $1,250. But here's the thing. Before we have the show, $1,250. Here's the thing. Newsflash: government will move us. Why?
It's cheaper.
Substantially reduced.
Now I know what you're saying. Okay.
Substantially reduced. Well, where is rent substantially reduced in British Columbia or across Canada or actually across North America? I mean, when we moved here, yeah, rent was substantially reduced. But if we go, say, we went to move to Langley, just for instance, to like a newer building, if we wanted to move back to where we were living before, they wouldn't move us. Nope. Yeah. It's substantially increased. They want to be substantially reduced. So if we moved out to that building, $1,250. Oh yeah, they'd say, "Oh yeah, we'll move you." No problem.
But you know what, Brent? I just wanted to circle all the way back to the very beginning of the show, and I think almost the very first thing that MJ said. Now you can correct me, MJ, but we basically said right off the top of the show that, you know, the government is very famous at lumping PWD all together. We'll just throw them on the same pile of welfare. You know, and I think that's the worst thing that government does is to throw PWD on the heap of welfare and say it's all the same. And I don't mean to take I don't mean to start a whole another podcast. But I mean, just like the other day I went to get a haircut, and my hairdresser was talking about how bad just her little shopping complex where I go. There's all the stores there, and she said where she's working in her hair place, and she's the owner of her hair place, by the way. But where she's working, there have been like 6 break-ins and like you know, smash glass. Like 6 break-ins in less than a month. Like really bad break-ins, or where there's just like really bad vandalism, where there's just broken glass everywhere. And 6 times for like one area. We're only talking one area, and it's been repeat, like just smashing and just destroying property of the stores, and like I know it seems like I'm going off topic, but not really. What I'm trying to say is, that the government looks at that and almost conflates it and then says, well, that's the same as PWD. Like,
yeah, they're going to say that
somehow we're connected to all that crap, and it's it's a totally different thing.
That's exactly what one of the property managers from another building that I bump into every so often. There's two of them. There's a lady and there's a guy, and they run other buildings too, from different management company within the group. And it was interesting. That was exactly their view. That was what they think, why the government's not wanting to raise the rates. They're thinking, well, if we raise the rates, that they're gonna on the street, they're gonna buy all these drugs and weapons and cause mass destruction. And
PWD are gonna start smashing windows.
Yeah, I said, but the problem, I said, I understand what you're saying. I said, but again, that's a stereotype. What do you mean? I go, because it's like a classification saying, oh, well, if we do this, well, then we can't give them this. And I said, the problem is that they have to respect the PWD in whole. They know who's doing the problems. And at the same time, they have to get them the treatment on the streets. They have to get them the actual shelter, housing. And I don't like the word wraparound support. I like the wording where you give them the supports, give them the treatments that they need, the recovery, the best way of recovery on their individual situation in life. I know there's been talk about, oh, well, they'll put them away into a facility somewhere. I don't, I think just give them the treatment, do the best they can, assess them for their individual needs. There's a lady in my building, she's a nurse, and one of my aunts actually is a retired nurse, an RN, and she specialized in there's a few different special areas that she specialized in anyway. But she told me the same thing. They need compassionate care, Brent. Mm-hmm. People that are on the street, they need to know that somebody actually cares and actually knows that. And she said that the government has failed. The government, and this is coming from an RN, that a retired RN, that the government has failed on all levels. And now they're pointing fingers at other governments. Oh, well, you would do this and that. Well, the fact is, who's in government now, right? And she's right, is that the fact is that they don't know what to do, right? They're scrambling around. The system was designed. She said it was an experiment that was done in East Vancouver many decades ago. Throw them down in a group of people down there, and nothing's going to go wrong. They're in a safe area. They know each other, and it blossomed.
And somehow the PWD, the people with disabilities in the province, have gotten lumped in with a totally separate issue.
They used to have
separate issue.
They used to have two separate offices, MJ. Yeah. They had a PWD office for a limited time, and they had people on income assistance, or AKA welfare. They had their own office. And then after a short period of time, they merged them. They took the PWD office away. I know Langley had one where they took it away and they put it under the same office as welfare. You would walk in, or income assistance, you'd walk in and they would just talk down to you. I found it very condescending, where they would just talk down to you like, you need to submit in your paperwork. What did you declare? Hey, there was like a 5-week month. Well, I'm sorry. Like, I was working and I couldn't get there in time. My employer wouldn't let me off. I asked them, I said, well, can I get out like an hour early so that I would have time to go home, grab the paperwork, get to the office and get it in there before they closed? No, sorry, employer said no. So I get a phone call Monday morning. Why did you not submit in your paperwork? Well, yeah. I have it sitting here. I couldn't get there. Oh, are you trying to cheat the system? I mean, like, what the hell? Yeah. I mean, cheat the system for what? Like, well, what, I mean, I don't understand what you mean. Like, I said, you know where I work.
We're all cheats, farmers, and deadbeats.
Yeah, I said, you can go and talk to my employer, and my employer will probably tell you off. I mean, you want to get me fired? I mean, go ahead. I mean, hey, I mean, yeah, it's like, kind of accusing a person for doing something that is out of their control, but talking down to them like they're an imbecile. And I find that, again, like I said earlier in the show, do unto others as you want done unto you. Like, and they're just staffers. They don't get it, right? I think there's a miscommunication from office level versus government level. They always say at the office level, we know as PWD if we're going to get a rate increase before they know in the office. I'm like, well, that's wrong. They said, yeah, because the government doesn't tell them everything. Yeah, I guess. And so my point was that when we were living in Langley, MJ, we were told that this is the amount that you're entitled for. This is the amount, and that was including the COVID supplement. So they said, any place that you rent from, this is the amount going forward. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not going to change. They're not going to change that. That was coming from the office level. Well, they didn't know that the government had made a different decision. And so it embarrassed us to our corporate landlord that, well, you told us this is the amount going forward. Well, that's what we were told. And the yelling match, like yelling at a tenant, like, wow, like something like, again, like something that we thought we were doing wrong. Like, no.
Yeah.
So I guess the moral of the story, everybody watching today, is we want, I guess, echo our voices going forward. Let your MP, and if you're you're in Ottawa, like your members of Parliament, let them know that it's not okay that the provinces are treating people with disabilities across the Canada with disrespect. If you're in your province, your MLA or MPP, I guess in Ontario, members of Parliament, whatever it stands for. But anyway, let them know. Let them know too that your Premier Doug Ford, he needs to not just tie the rates to inflation, which is great because BC doesn't have that. You need to raise the rates too up to a livable amount for PWD, and also income assistance (OW) that they have in Ontario. Same as in Alberta. Like, sure, they say, oh, your rates are the highest in Canada. Well, not with you clawing back the CDB. You're requiring them to. They have no choice but to take it, and then you got to take it away from them. I mean, well, what? You're only supposed to have a certain amount to live. Like, you can't succeed and actually enjoy life and actually put the money back into society. I mean, no, we got to suppress you down. It's not okay. Like, I think all governments going forward, they need to now listen to lived experience stories. Come on to the show. Don't be scared. Come on to the show. Like, I mean, reach out to Neil and myself. We'll get you scheduled in. I mean, we can have a sit down one-on-one and say, why are you okay with keeping the rates the way they are? I mean, oh, economic downturn, headwinds. I mean, we hear in BC. Oh, and I think going forward in 2026, they're probably going to have an excuse. Oh, well, we'd like to, but we're in damage control. We don't have.
Well, EB would like to, but he's hired too many comedians. So, I just
mic drop right there.
I just wondered if MJ had some final comments. Yeah.
Not final. I have a couple more things I wanted to discuss.
Okay.
Yeah, MJ, that was a good mic drop, eh? That okay, Canadians, yeah.
So my next petition provincially, because I am going to do them. They're hard to do. They take a long time to get going. But
okay.
I have the stamina and the will to do it. My next one, I need some.
I believe in you.
My next one I want with the province is I want our own disability office back, our own ministry.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to do that without sounding like I want to exclude the drug addicts. Like, I think they have a disability, but I'm sick of being told I'm a drug addict because they've lumped us in them. I don't know how to word that. Any advice?
Well, like I say, back in 2020, or 2000, back in 2000, I believe it was Langley had one. I don't know about other communities.
There were separate offices. There were offices.
And you'd go in, and you know what? Like, I had gone in there, and because my office had got changed, and actually my office was all the way in Aldergrove. Go figure. Aldergrove. My office was all the way in Aldergrove. They moved it. I got a phone call saying, yeah, so there's an office in Langley now, and oh, okay. So you'll be going to Langley office. Well, I didn't want to go to Aldergrove anyway. I had to take a bus all the way down, all the way into Aldergrove, and then come all the way back home. Like, I mean, it was quite the bus ride.
Yeah, and that was like, wasn't that in the? That was like 2000.
That was in 2000, yeah.
Early 2000, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you can reference, MJ, is that there did used to be provincial disability offices.
and they treated you with respect. Though they didn't talk down to you. Like you'd walk in there, how are you today? Oh, awesome, awesome. You know, and like in complete between daytime and nighttime, you'd go into the other office when they merged it all into the welfare office. They would talk down to you like you were less than standard, even less than equal. Like you weren't worth the time. And I thought, well, like I remember chewing a lady out, MJ. And there was a guy who talked to me too. I said, "You ever talk to me that way again?" I said, "I'll get my mom up here and she'll get me a bar of soap and she'll cram it down your throat." Oh my God, you get the hell out of our office now. I go, "I'm serious." And next time I came in, they were like, "Hi, Brent, how's it going?" You know, like being all like cheery to me. But seriously, like I always say, do unto others as you want done unto you. Like show people with respect. And I agree with you. I think we should have our own office. Yeah, so
it needs to come back. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to. We have advocate really strong on that.
Federally, they don't have the ministry either. So I mean, we need to advocate to have that back too.
Well, federally, they have the money. They have the money. I mean, they got money to blow.
Federal petitions. I want you guys to do. You could all do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think every province should have their own disability ministry.
Yeah.
And every province that does not have a PWD designation needs to have one. I know that some of our guests, one of our guests that we had on recently, Neil, I didn't know they didn't have a disability ministry there, which is quite shocking. So that needs to change too. I think, yeah, just give people the offices. They're in place. I mean, government loves to waste money anyway, nothing to see for it anyway. So, I mean, you have that in place and give people the proper financial support. They put the money back into society. There's so many changes that we can do. I'm going to really advocate for that strong too, MJ, with in correspondence with you, and we'll maybe see if we can get Neil on board too, and get Jeff on board. And and Sonia's on board here too. Anybody else in the chat session? Are you on board? Do you want to see a disability ministry in your province?
We have Sailor Green Tea in chat. I love some of the names. Sailor Green Tea.
Well, I got a Sailor Green mug. Well, I love your name, but
do you guys think it's a good idea not only to ask for our own ministry, but to ask for separation of the drug addicts?
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Because
sure.
once you advocate for a separate ministry, that's basically what you're asking for. You're asking for a separation, because it is two different things. So we're talking apples and oranges here, right?
Yes.
And it bugs me that they're just throwing everything in, like they're saying, well, it doesn't matter if it's an apple and orange. It's all the same.
Or you're getting a navel orange, and then you're getting a sun-kissed orange. You know what I mean? You got almost two oranges, but they need more help. Like, should we say?
Yeah, well, but to me, it's not even orange. Like, you're not even types of oranges. Yeah. It's completely different. Like, you know.
Okay, good way of looking.
Like right now, they're including mental disabled people, same as addicts, and they don't even acknowledge the physically disabled.
Yeah, I see your point on that. Exactly.
They don't even exist.
Yeah, and that has to change. Like, it really has to change. But MJ, I heard that there was supposed to be a state-of-the-art computer system in 2023. It was supposed to be amazing. In 2024, it was supposed to be there. It was going to be the super duper computer. It was going to pay huge payouts in 2024 or in 2025.
Well, again, I think EB went to Sheila and he said, "Sheila, I'll give you a choice." He says, I'll either pay for your computer, your supercomputer, or I'll get another comedian. And Sheila says, "Well, okay, David, you can hire your comedian, and I'll go without the computer now."
Are you auditioning, Neil?
but apparently they hired the.
I'm a little bitter. That's okay though.
Yeah, but that's okay. They hired the comedian last February. We just found out just recently, but he was paid $90,000 already.
Yeah.
But the comedian admitted that he did. He wrote John Horgan's
for John Horgan as well. Yeah.
His jokes. He wrote his jokes, so it was already going on then. But what was the alarming part was we just found out that $90,000 got paid out in February. but he's only apparently getting paid $14,000
So far this year.
or so far up to maximum 450 over 3 years, 450,000. But the government says they're broke though.
Oh yeah, that's because they're bargaining.
That's why we can't raise PWD rates. Economic headwinds. Oh boy.
Yeah.
$11.9 billion in debt, but they had a surplus of over almost $6 billion. Yeah. 2.5 years later, poof, gone. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, you look at the numbers though, like, you know, those numbers that I went through, it's just mind boggling, even to the people listening to it. Like, I mean, just think about it, everybody. 1989 to 2023, I mean, 34 years, and the rates only went up by $125.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's pretty bad, right? I mean, isn't it? I mean, yeah.
Well, it was $560 to rent a one-bedroom in Vancouver in 1990.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
As far back as I could find.
I remember those days. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember looking at the newspaper. I mean, I'd be doing a paper route when I was a teenager, looking at it. My mom, she'd pass by because she was going to the grocery store, and I'd pass by her. Why are you still here? What are you looking at? Going classifieds. I was looking at bike parts and looking through bike parts, and I was trying to get, you know, mirrors for my bike and just soup it up. And then I flipped through, and I guess the wind, it got windy, and then all of a sudden the page flipped over to rentals, and I saw this. Oh, rentals. What is this? And oh wow, rent. Oh, 1 month free. Oh wow, 1 month free. What is that? But then I look at the rent price, and it was $380. $380 for a one bedroom. $380. Wow. Okay. To me, it didn't mean anything. I thought, okay, wow. You know, I pay my mom 30% of my income. I do. She charged me 30% when I started working, MJ. So she'd say, well, 30% of your income to rent, and that will cover you. Oh, okay. What does that mean? Well, nobody should be paying more than 30% of their income to rent, she said. Oh, I don't know what that means, but back then I said, okay, sure. So I'm like, yeah, okay. So, you know, the buying power. I mean, what you had for that mighty dollar back then, you could get so many items. Now, that same, say, $20 back then, you could get a lot of items, right? Or even 100. Let's just say $100. What you could get back in the 1980s, 1990s, 1990, you could get a lot of groceries for $100. Now that same $100, you could get maybe $30 at the most, at the very most, of the same amount of value of goods and services. It gets eroded right down, and our rates have not kept up with inflation. I know that there's advocacy groups out there that have told the government, the BC government, that they want to see our rates tied to inflation. There's one of them that has also said to increase the rates. Rumor has it to $2,400. Don't quote me on that. But there's the other one, another advocacy group that didn't say they tie the rates to inflation, but wants our rates raised up. You know, so I kind of looking at it as, if you're going to tie it to inflation, raise the rates too, because all that's going to do is pay your rent increase, but it's not going to cover your cost of living. It's going to help your corporate landlord out, but it's not going to help you with the cost of living going forward, and it's going to keep people in abject poverty. Really, is what it does.
So my petition, in a roundabout way, asks them to increase the shelter rates to the average, and it will also increase the
yes, yeah,
inflation.
Exactly.
In a roundabout way.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a lot of hard wording to do, I'll tell you.
Oh yeah, that's why I love the way that you wrote that petition, because it really makes total sense. I mean, now of course, if it depends on how much wax is in the government's ears. I mean, if they actually hear that, you know, I could clear them out. My doctor always told me, don't use cotton swabs, because you know, Brent, you're using cotton swabs and you're digging too far in. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. He's using a little microscope. Yes, you are. Don't lie to me. I'm not. It's like, well, you know, but again, it's like kind of like the government. Don't lie to us. Like, tell us the truth. Either you want to raise the rates or you don't. You don't care about your citizens. Okay, well, we know you don't care. We're telling you it's okay to care. It's okay to care about your citizens.
I really believe they don't want the drug addicts off the streets, because they would have to explain to the general public then, why do we still have a homeless problem? Exactly.
That's I think that's the thing, is that they're making excuses of kind of, well, we're doing this and doing that.
It's
but we're not,
it's almost like a make work project for the government. Like,
well, yeah,
as long as you keep things status quo, it's like a make work project for them.
Yeah, it's like digging up holes in the road, and then you see all these pylons around, but you don't see anyone working. Yeah, and that's the same kind of thing. It's making positions for make-believe positions that aren't even needed. There's too much administration, red tape, and now they're realizing that, oh, we have to start cutting. Well, gee, we told them that a long time ago, didn't we? Yeah, start cutting from the top, cut the fat from the top. Now you've got more money, it's accountability, and that money goes back in.
I can write jokes. Brett.
But it's not going to cost.
Sorry.
Yeah. But I'm not going to give you $450,000 maximum to do that deal. But
anyway, we should try to wrap up because we're approaching an hour and a half. So.
All right. Well, I want to thank. First of all, I want to thank MJ. I want to thank you for talking about your petition, talking about the rates. I mean, and you know the impact that it has on people's lives. I love your idea about bringing the shelter rate up to the community that you live in. So based on the community that you live in, that's what your shelter rate will be in that community. If you move to a different community, that's what your shelter rate is going to be. And I think it totally makes sense. The government will probably say, "Oh, that makes too much sense," but it doesn't. It does. It makes sense. So let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's make disability offices for PWD too. Makes sense. You had it before. Why did you get rid of it? Because it worked. Why did you get rid of bus passes? Whoa, I don't know. Same thing. If it's not broke, I always say if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Right? Something that worked. If something that worked well, it's like when they had pensions, MJ. They had pensions for PWD. That was, and they took it away because it made sense.
Like you said, they break things so that gives them more work to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they can say, "Oh, more to do. We'll just keep breaking things and
then they reannounce it, and they reannounce it and say, "We're bringing back pensions. Like, look what we did." Anyway, I want to thank MJ for coming on. We'll follow up with your petition anytime that you want to come on. Let us know, and we can continue on with talk about petitions or whatever else you want to talk about. And that kind of extends the welcome to anybody with your lived experience story. Don't be shy. If you don't want to be on camera, anybody that in the disability community, but you want your voice to be heard, Neil can do his magic work behind the scenes there, and he can make it so that you can make it look like you're just a phone-in dial-in program show.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, like calling into a radio station. Yep. Caller number 10, please. Congratulations. You're caller number 10, and you win. You win a mug.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks everybody who signed the petition. Please share the petition. It's going to be collecting signatures till the end of the month.
Yep.
And then we'll work on the next one.
Yeah.
And hopefully everybody will do a federal one. They're so easy.
And the link is down in the description. I have to say again, down in the description.
Yeah. The federal one, I really think everybody should do one that ends the middle of December and ask for the CDB to be fixed. That's what I would do. Everybody get them in the same petition. The more the better. We have no voice. That's the only way we have a voice, you guys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We need to have that CDB fixed, and it needs to go to every single person on PWD benefits and territorial benefits, should we say? Like anywhere, any PWD in Canada, so that it's not singling out any specific, person. I mean, it was already told. They were told the federal government not to do it the way they're doing it now, and they didn't listen. I don't know. Maybe it was a 2-year-old, 1-year-old, 2-year-old. God, said, "Hey, let's mess it up. Let's mess it up." Or they go, "Oh, it's like they throw flour in. No, what are you doing? You got chocolate pudding. Why do I just throw that flour in there? Oh my God!" That's what the kid did, right? So, anyway, it can be fixed. It can be fixed. So thank you very much, everybody. Stay tuned to our next show, because the sneak peek on our next show. Neil, should we tell them who our next guest will be?
Rob Shaw from Political Capital.
Rob Shaw will be joining us on our next show, everybody, from Political Capital in Victoria, British Columbia.
Super excited to get him on. It'll be great.
Very super excited guest to get on. I was quite surprised that he said, "Sure, I'll come on." There we
Yeah,
go.
very willing to come on, and we love him for it. So it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be
Is
awesome.
there any chance you guys can get him to promote that petition somehow?
We'll ask him. We'll see.
That's all you can do.
We'll see.
Let's see what he can
Also,
do.
if
Yeah.
you guys have contacts, you should try to, anytime we're doing petitions, try to ask them to promote them.
Yeah.
It will help.
Definitely. We'll
Yeah.
promote the heck out of these petitions. We'll
Yeah.
promote it and staple it everywhere we can.
Sure.
Yeah.
On Sheila's forehead.
Yeah. A little stamp there. Oop.
See, if we get our own ministry, we might have a new minister too.
We may even have a new
That's a
leader.
roundabout way of getting a new minister.
We may even have a new leader on different parties soon too.
Yeah.
The BC Conservatives having a little problem going on there right now. And
all of the political parties are really in a state of flux, right?
leadership review in the fall for Premier David Eby too. Who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be interesting. You know, I still think that maybe having a party for PWD, maybe that may be the way to go too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be another show in itself. But thanks everyone. Stay tuned. And first of all, MJ, thank you so much for coming on. Hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. And again, I'm promoting the mug here because I just love this mug. It's easy to grab onto too, right? You just grab on. You can keep all your hot beverage in there, like hot water, hot tea, lemon drink, whatever it may be. It's great. Yeah.
It's great, but we need something that's more visual to the general public.
Yeah, like a shirt.
Yeah.
A shirt. All right. Well, we'll have to look at that. Send your comments in the comment section, everybody, and tell us what you like.
Shirt or mug. Shirt or mug.
Yeah. And if you really like them and the word gets out a lot, we can see where we go from there.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend, everybody, and stay tuned to our next show with Rob Shaw,
Political Capital.
Show.
Yeah.
And thanks.
Cheers,
Take care,
everyone.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.